Hi, boys and girls. We are going to finish lesson 54 textbook today. So if you could have your notebook open to lesson 54 and find where you left off yesterday. Yesterday we did part 1. Today we are going to do part 2. Okay? So touch A. Listen. Sarah has 12 fewer marbles than Julie has. Sarah has 16 marbles. How many marbles does Julie have? What kind of problem is this? Is this a start and end problem? Or is this a comparison problem? It's a comparison. You're going to be comparing a couple of things to each other, right? In this example, we are going to be comparing Sarah and Julie, right? So S and J are the letters. All right. So to first solve this problem, we need to find the sentence that tells how many more or less. Which sentence compares how many more or less? Sentence 1, right? So which number tells how many more or less? 12. Add that to the family. Let's reread without the 12. Sarah has fewer marbles. Is S going to be small or big? S is going to be small, and the big is J. Let's replace one of those letters. Sarah has 16 marbles. Which one are you going to replace? The S. Replace the S. And we are solving for J. So write down the problem that we're going to work. And what answer did you get for that? Did you get 28? Wonderful. Touch problem B. Listen. Bob's tent is 2 pounds lighter than Rita's tent. Rita's tent weighs 23 pounds. How many pounds does Bob's tent weigh? Find the sentence that tells how many more or less. Sentence 1. Find the number that tells how many more or less. 2. Add that to the family. Reread without the 2. Bob's tent is lighter. So is B the big or the small? B is the small number. And then the big number would be R. Let's look back in the story and replace either the B or the R. And it tells us about R, doesn't it? Go ahead and replace R. And write down your problem and work it. And did you get 21 as your answer? Good job. Let's go on to problem C. Ron is 13 years older than Mary. Mary is 15 years old. How many years old is Ron? First, find the sentence that tells how many more or less. Top sentence. Write down the number that tells how many more or less. 13. Reread without the number. Ron is older. Add R and M to the family. And R is the big number and M is the small number. Okay, let's read about R or M. And it tells us about M. So replace M, write down your problem and work it. And what's the answer? 28. Good job. And let's do problem D. Ray is 20 pounds heavier than Jill. Ray weighs 45 pounds. How many pounds does Jill weigh? Find a sentence that tells how many more or less. Find the number that tells how many more or less. Add it to the family. Reread the sentence. Ray is heavier than Jill. Add R and J to the family. R is the big number and J is the small number. Now replace R or J, and it told us about R. So replace it, write down the problem and work it. And did you get 75 as your answer? Fantastic. Let's do our last problem here together. Joe is 17 years younger than Nick. Joe is 62 years old. How many years old is Nick? Find a sentence that tells how many more or less. Write down the number that tells how many more or less. Reread without the number. Joe is younger. Add J and Nick to the family. J should be the small number. N should be the big number. Replace either the N or the J. You should replace the J. Write down your problem and work it. And did you get 79 as your answer? Wonderful. Okay, so your independent work today is going to be the textbook parts here. You can either pause the video and copy and work the problems off of my screen here, or you can click on the next link and pull up the page that you can see. Okay, you're going to work these in your notebook. So for part 3, you're going to write down the 2 subtraction facts that would go with this number family. Okay, so first you need to figure out what the other small number is, and you write down the 2 subtraction facts, the one that goes back in the arrow, and then the other subtraction fact. For part 4, you have some comparison word problems that you're going to work. For part 5, you have some multiplication. You have the array here for A, and then the other multiplication problems to work. So go ahead and do your independent work, and if possible, please email it to me so that I can offer you some feedback. You did a wonderful job. Have an awesome day, boys and girls. I'll see you next time. Bye.